I load up TSN, and I'm like, there's got to be a fun article on TSN. Then I run across Steve Downie. Okay, now I'm not going to get into whether or not Dave Tippett's a good coach. I think he is, but the problem is Arizona can't win, and he's been down there for a long time not winning. So as much as I liked him in Dallas and wish Dallas had kept him, um, recent history shows he's maybe not the best coach in the NHL. But Steve Downie's talking a lot about character. He's talking a lot about the Coyotes. And the one thing in all these tweets, and you can find Steve Downie's Twitter and find what he's talking about. He talks about quitting on Arizona last year. This is why I quit on the Coyotes. It's like, so you quit on your teammates. Okay. He makes a statement about how he wasn't allowed to skate for 4 days, and he wasn't allowed to take the pregame skate, and then Tippett wanted him in the lineup that night. Okay, you're an NHLer. Grow up. He's bitching because Max Domi gets in a fight, breaks his hand, he's out for a while. He's blaming Tippett for that as well. Max Domi, his bloodline state that he's a fighter. I know he's a goal scorer. You know, most of the viewers of this channel know he's a goal scorer. He's got Domi in the back of his jersey. And there are players in the NHL who are going to try to needle him and see if he has his dad's temper. Because if you can get Max Domi out of the game, you're probably going to beat the Coyotes. So I'm honestly kind of surprised at Downie going off like this. And he went off about Arizona's treatment of John Scott. Now I will say this, and a lot of people have asked me for a while now to talk about John Scott. I will talk about John Scott because John Scott is a good story. John Scott started out as a joke a year ago and turned into a very good story. But Downie, remember, Downie's talking about, integrity. Let's see. Downie made his National Hockey League debut on December 5th, 2007 against the Wild. He scored his first NHL goal against the Maple Leafs on January 5th, 2008. During the game, Downie got into a scuffle with Leafs forward Jason Blake. While the linesman was trying to keep them apart, Downie got his left arm loose and sucker punched Blake in the left eye, while Blake's arms and hands were still tied up by the other linesman. Leafs fans are going, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that too. During a game against the Rangers on February 9th, 2008, Downie was hip-checked by Rangers defenseman Fedor Tutin, and his skate hit linesman Pat DiPuzzo in the face. DiPuzzo required 60 stitches to his face, suffered a broken nose, was forced to retire. That's not like Downie intentionally did. These are just incidents. In Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals on May 13th, 2008, Downie hit Peter Sikora as the play ended on Ryan Malone's goal that gave Pittsburgh a 3-1 lead. Sikora did not have the puck when Downie hit him. On November 7, 2008, Downie was traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning along with Steve Eminger for defenseman Matt Carle. On March of 2010, Downie was fined for a hit on Sidney Crosby. Downie stated Colin Campbell, league disciplinarian, told him it was a dangerous play. Downie finished his first full season with 46 points in 79 games. After a successful season, he was selected to participate in the World Championships. On August 25th, 2010, Downie re-signed with the Lightning on a 2-year bridge contract worth $3.7 million. Here's where it gets fun. Downie's been suspended for several incidents, and in addition to an incident with Akim Aliu, which was, it's in this article. Yeah. Downie was selected in the 2005 entry draft by the Flyers. Not long after being drafted, Downie was suspended for 5 games early in the 05-06 OHL season for an on-ice altercation with teammate Akim Aliu. During a practice, Downie blindly cross-checked Aliu in the face without warning, knocking out 3 of his teeth, and then proceeded to fight his younger teammate. The incident stemmed from 16-year-old Aliu's refusal to take part in a hazing incident where he would have been forced to stand naked in a cramped bus bathroom with other rookies. The team suspended Downie for 5 games and Aliu for 1, and Downie was told to undergo professional counseling. Head coach Mo Mantha Jr. was suspended by the OHL and later fired by the team, and the team was fined $35,000 by the OHL. Downie left the team requesting a trade and was eventually traded to the Windsor Spitfires. He's all class. In addition to the Aliu incident mentioned above, during a September 25th, 2007 preseason game against the Ottawa Senators, Downie was involved in an incident in which he checked unsuspecting left-winger Dean McCammon into the boards. You can YouTube the Dean McCammon hit. Make sure you haven't had lunch first. While Downie's feet were off the ice. Due to the extent of McCammon's injury and having left his skates during the hit, Downie was suspended by the NHL for 20 games 3 days later for deliberate injury to McCammon, as the NHL was cracking down on the play, resulting in a head injury. To date, it is the 5th longest suspension given by the league, and for damn good reason. One day after the NHL suspension was announced, the Flyers announced they'd sent Downie down to the American Hockey League affiliate, the Phantoms. Per AHL bylaws, Downie was considered automatically ineligible to play pending review by the AHL. AHL President David Andrews suspended Downie for the first month of the 07-08 AHL season as a result of the attempted injury to McCammon. On February 28, 2009, Downie, by this point playing for the Norfolk Admirals, the Lightning AHL affiliate, slashed a linesman in the shin following a controversial empty net goal in a game against the Hershey Bears, receiving a game misconduct for physical abuse of an official. Under AHL rules, this penalty carries an automatic 20-game suspension, which would be Downie's second such lengthy suspension. So when I hear Steve Downie complaining and saying, oh, this organization has no class, talking about the Coyotes, I take it with a grain of salt. So if you're out there today browsing around and you hear what Downie's saying and you go, yeah, Downie's got a point. No, he doesn't. And he doesn't have a point because it's Steve Downie trying to make the point. This is a guy who played dirty hockey his whole career. For those hits that got him suspended, there were countless others that were right on that edge. And I know there's people on my channel that argue to me, oh, you need to play on that edge. There's lots of guys who are good. They play on that edge. Injuring players shouldn't be part of the game. And the way Steve Downie played hockey was to injure players. The fact that Tippett treated him like shit, we don't know why Tippett would have treated him that way. We have no way of getting inside of Dave Tippett's head and understanding why. Now, unless I'm missing something, I haven't heard a lot of Arizona Coyotes complaining about Tippett. This just seems like Downie just going on a rant. A big old rant. You go to his Twitter tweets. First shout out, way, Max Domi, haha, what a punch. I'm going to read it word for word the way he wrote it. Second shout out is to Dave Tippett and Newell Brown on running a great program down in AZ. There's a reason they're, THERE, in last every year. Okay. They're not. they're not in last every year. That's absolutely false. Fucking Steve Downie. They've missed the playoffs 3 times in a row, or 4 times in a row. This will be their 5th. But they were 4th in the Pacific 4 times in a row coming into this season. They've had seasons of 51 points. That was during the lockout in 48 games. 89, 56, and 78. They've actually only been last in the West once. And this year, they're not last. But whatever. Third, Peterborough Petes are better run than the AZ Coyotes. Okay. Fourth, I've never played on a team when my best player broke his hand in a fight. Ha ha, the game has changed, or Tippett's an idiot. But you've run the better players over. You ran Peter Sikora. You ran down Dean McCammon, and, it was a fucking dangerous hit. Another classless move by Tippett. This really put over the edge last year and made me quit on AZ. It's badly worded. It's worded like a 4-year-old kitten tried to write it. And kittens it's a full-grown cat. Another classless move by Tippett. This really put, I'm going to assume he means me, over the edge last year and made me quit on AZ. I quit on my teammates because of the coach. I never came out publicly and said anything about it. I assume he didn't tell his teammates that he gave up. Oh, and now he goes in the big font. The way they treated Big John Scott. I remember watching Tippett laugh at Big John working his ass off for the team. Okay, that seems weird because I, to this point, haven't heard John Scott say anything about Dave Tippett. He could, but John Scott, he's a meathead. He couldn't score, and he wasn't a great skater. He had class. John Scott had class when he played the game. This is why I tell people there's toughness and then there's assholeness. And that's where Downie fits. Classless. John Scott is the best teammate I've seen in a long time. My last game I played for the Coyotes, Dave the man Tippett didn't let me skate for 4 days, not even the morning skate. Then he randomly wants me in the lineup. Fucking classless. We don't know why he wanted him in the lineup. It may have been so-and-so's hurt. Crap. All right, Downie, you're in. And then Colin Campbell asked John Scott if his kids were going to be embarrassed that he is going to the All-Star game. What a joke. Yes, that happened. That definitely has been filtering through and pilfering through. And I have no way of defending the way the NHL handled the John Scott thing. But this whole tirade by Downie, I don't know if he was drunk or what's going on. But then this tweet, John gets mad at Colin and tells him he's off. Then AZ trades him. Ha ha, who's the puppet? Okay, so now he's Donald Trump. Now I'm not the puppet, you're the puppet. So John gets mad at Colin and tells him he's off. Tells him off, then AZ trades him. Arizona traded John Scott. Again, I'm going to do a John Scott video. And I believe it was to bury him. Everybody knows this. This was an NHL move more than an Arizona move. And then he puts, that's enough for now. Merry Christmas to all. Then Arizona flies Christian Thomas from Minnesota to Providence after sending him down. He makes it to Providence just in time for the game. Christian had season-ending injury that night. Not fair. If I was an agent, I would not let any of my players anywhere near that team. It's Christian Thomas is a guy who's a tweener. He plays NHL, he plays AHL. He's probably never going to be a full-time NHLer. There are countless cases of a guy getting sent down and playing that night. Downie's tirade is baffling, bewildering, and you have to consider the source. If this guy had played the game with integrity and like a man and really been an upstanding player, fine. But he left a lot of organizations. I mean, Downie, let's see, Steve Downie. At Philadelphia Flyers. Wow. He was 12 points for the Flyers. Really? Yeah, this isn't accurate. This is old. So, let me get out of here. I'll go ahead and look at his career. And then he talks about how about the fighting culture in hockey and how that's got to go. Yeah, because the way that you played hockey, if fighting was gone, according to you guys who say you need a deterrent, right? You need a deterrent. He's a guy that I will agree with you guys you need a deterrent against. This guy played 434 games, had 1,057 penalty minutes, 76 goals. He was drafted to be a good two-way forward, power forward. He never reached that. He never got to that level. He signed a big contract, which was a huge mistake. And the funny thing is, he's attacking Cherry, and yet I remember Don Cherry sticking up for Steve Downie. I remember when Steve Downie got to Colorado, and Don Cherry talking about, oh, the guy's great. No, Steve Downie. Oh, yeah, Tampa shouldn't have given up on him. And now he's throwing Cherry under the bus. So, again, consider the source. Always consider the source. And Downie's one of the worst sources you could have. So, yeah. Because I've had people ask me, say, are you going to do a John Scott video? Yeah. The other problem with the John Scott video is he's writing a book. He's already said the book is going to be a tell-all. He doesn't need Steve Downie coming out right now to say anything. Steve Downie played a grand total of 26 games for the Coyotes last season, and he ended up with the Springfield Falcons, so they sent him down. He had 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, 53 penalty minutes, 26 games, and that was it. That was the end of his career. And he's talking about what a great guy John Scott is. Fine. But I'm not going to take his word for the coaching style of Dave Tippett, who's been coaching for over a decade. And I've never heard anything really negative about Tippett. Let me know in the comments if you guys have heard stuff about Tippett that I haven't heard. Because I have my opinions. I am willing to change my opinions if new information becomes available. I think Downie's off his rocker right now. I think he's completely off his rocker. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing through. But yeah, Steve Downie, classless. Look up the McCammon hit. Look up the McCammon hit, and if you can come back and tell me either A, it was a good hit, or B, that was justified, anything. I don't think anybody can justify that hit. But for him to then talk about somebody else being classless, go to hell. Seriously, what the hell? All right, I've got alcohol downstairs. I think it's time I break some of that out. I will probably do another video before I go to bed tonight. I'm going to find something uplifting to talk about because it is the holiday season. But again, not everybody celebrates Christmas. There's other holidays. As much as we all want to say that this is a big homogenous internet and everybody celebrates Christmas, no, not everybody does. So while I observe it, because I like presents, what's not to like about it? Not everybody does. And another thing I'm thinking about doing tomorrow is digging through my jerseys there and coming up with a brand new, here's my 20 favorite jerseys of what I own. Like today, I'm wearing this, and the first thing Yvonne says to me is, I don't think I've ever seen you wear that. And I'm like, no, probably not. And we've been dating for, since September 9th. So you do the math. That's the number of days we've seen each other, and she's never seen me wear this. That's how many jerseys I have. All right, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you all again soon.